Samoa Joe, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
What's going on, y'all? This is WWE Superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Rob Van Dam. You're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Aw, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. WWE Survivor Series went down this past Sunday night. Feels like forever ago. So much has happened since then in the WWE. Matches being announced and set up for their next pay-per-view TLC, and then even further down the road with the Royal Rumble coming up in January. So we're officially on the road to the Royal Rumble as they're talking about Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman going at it there. Braun Strowman, though, suffering an injury this week, which we'll get to and try to figure out what that means for the Monday Night Raw brand. If you want to hear our full recap of WWE Survivor Series, go to WrestlingUncensored.net right now, as we did a full coverage post-show of Survivor Series. We were on live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport, DOTNET on YouTube. We are live after the big pay-per-views for the WWE, and we talked at length about what happened at Survivor Series, including that awesome match between Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar. Really enjoyed that match. Really enjoying what Daniel Bryan is doing and that promo he did on Smackdown this week. So go check out, if you haven't heard it already, the podcast available on our iTunes feed as well. WrestlingUncensored.net is the home for all the info on that, so go check that out. Because we're not going to really recap Survivor Series here tonight. We're ready to move forward. We can recap Monday Night Raw and Smackdown that went down this week. And like I said, we're already on the road to the Rumble because we have a match announced. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman in a TLC match coming up at WWE TLC in December. If Strowman wins, he'll get Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, and Baron Corbin will lose all authority on Monday Night Raw. And if Corbin wins, he would be made the permanent general manager of Monday Night Raw. So a lot of stipulations in this one match, all set up at the start of the show this week with Baron Corbin and Stephanie McMahon and Braun Strowman doing that promo.
It was a long way to start the show. Pretty much set up how TLC is going to be.
It felt long.
It just, like, after Survivor Series, you just wanted some action. And it just felt like, no, well, we're going to explain the whole story going forward. And now you've explained the story, have a match, and now we're changing the story again. It just felt like they spent like a good half hour, and we've gone nowhere almost.
Which is what I don't really understand about this. And Braun Strowman is the centerpiece of the whole puzzle, right? He is the guy that has to wrestle at TLC, and then he would be the guy to move on to the Royal Rumble and take on Brock Lesnar. But the other big news this week is that Braun Strowman suffered an elbow injury, had some sort of elbow surgery, and is going to be out for some time.
The injury looked awesome, though. Like, the injury angle that they pulled off on Raw, it looked fantastic because it seemed like he actually was injured.
It did seem like he got hurt during the attack, which makes you wonder, like, I mean, he was bleeding from his arm, right?
But that was an accident, though. It's
okay.
Just great fortune for that.
Now, you are a guy going into this match injured.
Right.
Okay? You need elbow surgery. To sell that, to sell you going away, they're going to attack your elbow. And then they bust your elbow open and they do all sorts of damage to your already injured arm. Why not attack like a different body part and then say, yeah, you know, his knee is shattered, but really it's his elbow. and then he gets the elbow surgery, and he comes back, and maybe he sells his elbow, or maybe he sells his knee. You know? Like, why attack the already injured spot? Isn't that more dangerous than just saying, let's just go after something that's not hurt already? Like, it seemed kind of reckless to me, or am I wrong there, John? What do you think?
Well, my first guess is it can't be that severe if you're attacking the part that's supposed to be injured.
Right. Like, if my neck is broken, don't punch me in the neck, you know?
Right. But then it can't be that severe. It happened to Kevin Owens as well, though. They attack his leg, and he's got to get surgery on both his knees. So
yeah.
It seems weird how they do these injury angles. But, again, it can't be that bad. They also expect that he might be back for TLC. It's hit or miss, apparently. So, in the end, like, it was great to watch. I just question about how they do things like this.
But couldn't it aggravate the injury? That's what I'm
could.
wondering. It's weird.
It easily could have, and they're actually risking it. The fact that he was, granted, he didn't do much as Survivor Series, but you always put yourself at risk when you go in between the ropes. You never know what could happen.
So, did the WWE know he was hurt at Survivor Series?
I think he's been hurt for quite a while. You could tell, like, he's been kind of limping a lot, too. Like, it seems like he's been a lot slower in the matches. Yeah. I feel that Brock Lesnar match, like, taking F5 to the outside, that's going to take a toll on your body.
Yeah, especially for a huge guy like that.
You're not meant to bump like that. So, it's been tough.
I wonder how he's doing, because he's taken a lot of punishment in the short time he's been in WWE. And he's not, like, a super young guy. He's not old by any means, right? Braun Strowman is, like... he's in his 30s, 35 years old. He's not an old guy, but, you know, how many years does he have taking punishment like a Brock Lesnar type of match? It's rough. It's rough on the body. So I wonder what the WWE is planning here. Like, if they knew that Braun was hurt, why would they set all this stuff up with Braun? They obviously think that he's not going to be hurt long term, because they're booking him in a TLC match for December 16th. Kind of sounds like what they did to CM Punk, you know? Remember when CM Punk was saying, I just had surgery, it was like knee surgery or something, and they're like, yeah, you have to have a TLC match with Ryback in 2 weeks. Yep. He's like, what? I don't want to do that. And it's like, oh, sorry, pal. You got to do me this favor, pal. I need you. Punk's like, all right, you know? And Braun Strowman's like, well, Vince, I guess I'm going to have to do you this favor. I'm Braun Strowman. Somebody's going to get these hands.
I imagine it's probably something like that.
I don't know. It's just, man, I feel bad for the guy. Hope he's all right.
Well, it was also weird how that match just kind of unfolded, because it was an elimination match, right?
Yeah.
Where you had,
and it was only an elimination match so they could get those guys out of the ringside area so that they could do the beat up on Braun Strowman, right?
Right.
So it was Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, or as I call him, Frankie Lashley, and Drew McIntyre, because his real name's Franklin.
Right.
Franklin Roberto, as we learned last week. I just love that it's, like, I always thought it was Robert Lashley, but no, it's Roberto. Why Roberto?
I don't. You have to ask parents that.
He's not Spanish, is he?
I don't think so.
Anyways, so it was those guys against Braun Strowman, Elias, and Finn Balor. Always great to see Elias in the ring.
Well, he looked actually most out of place in that match.
He looked terrible.
Finn looked pretty good.
Finn always looks good. Finn's a great wrestler. He could be the centerpiece of the Monday Night Raw brand, and the Raw brand would be in much better shape.
But people are behind Elias. Regardless of that in the ring, he's not that great. People love the character. So they're just going to push him like crazy. And regardless, he looks strong.
He got eliminated.
He didn't get eliminated first, though, and it took a lot to eliminate him, too.
Sure. So Finn gets eliminated, Elias gets eliminated, and then Corbin, Lashley, and Drew McIntyre do this whole beat-up thing on Braun Strowman. Attack his elbow, leave him laying. He's bleeding from his arm. And now we find out that Braun is injured. So we probably don't see him on Raw for the next few weeks, which leaves us with a lot of Dean and Seth. Right? Like, what do you do? Maybe Drew and Dolph will feud with each other. They'll break up, and that'll fill the time. Like, what are they going to do on Raw now without Braun Strowman? If he's really gone for a little while? I mean, even if it is only 2 to 3 weeks, it's still several Raws without Braun Strowman. We're coming up here. We got 1, 2, 3 more weeks before TLC. Got to be a gamble. Having a guy have elbow surgery and then expecting him to be in a TLC match with Baron Corbin in 3 weeks.
Well, let's be fair here. I mean, it's TLC, but nothing like to climb up the ladder for. It's just there's weapons. That's it. That's a very easy match for Braun Strowman just to destroy him in. He doesn't really have to do much, just throw stuff at him and give him a power slam. I imagine he probably could have done it without the surgery, but they wanted to be safe. They realized, 2 3 weeks, we can survive without him. It's going to be rough because, Raw's hard to watch as it is right now. So I really am having a hard time trying to figure out how they're going to fill the void. I mean, you got to push guys like Finn Balor, like Elias, and maybe even bring up some new talent in the meantime.
Raw is hard to watch. That opening bit with Baron Corbin and all of that and the beating on Braun, it took, the promo and then the match and the beating, it took a while. And that's a large part of the show that's just not that interesting. So when that's Raw, and that's pretty much all they got, that's your top thing. That and the Seth and Dean thing, which, that followed after you got done with the Braun Strowman deal. Oh, here's Seth Rollins in the ring talking about Dean Ambrose and what he did to the Shield and what he did to Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, Which bringing Roman into all this, and then Dean Ambrose shows up on the Tron, and he says that Roman has to answer to the man upstairs about the misdeeds that he did while in the Shield. And Seth Rollins will have to answer to Dean Ambrose. Is he saying Roman's going to die?
Well, it was a very touchy promo. I think it offended a lot of people. And I get why they gave Dean that line. It's just, I don't know if it was very appropriate. And they probably crossed the line, I think.
Usually when you say somebody's going to have to answer to the man upstairs for whatever he's done in his life, you're saying he's going to die. Like, what? What the hell are they? What are they doing? What was that? That was too much, man.
Well, it's like if you're in a coma. I mean, you're in God's hands in a sense, right? I mean, you might live, you might die.
So maybe you could say, oh, well, they're saying it's up to the man upstairs. It's in God's hands to determine what happens with Roman because he has leukemia, and if God decides that Roman wasn't so bad, maybe he will spare him, but it's up to him. But I can't do anything because I'm Dean Ambrose and Roman's not in WWE right now, so I'll deal with you instead, Seth Rollins. Maybe you could stretch and say that's what he meant. That's a stretch.
Right.
Even then, it's not right.
I have a feeling he'll never...
Just leave the Roman Reigns stuff alone. I mean, the guy has leukemia, for real. Like, it's a shoot, brother. I mean, come on, man.
I have a feeling they'll never say that line again. He'll probably get erased from history that he said that. Because, I think it crossed the line. Like you said, it's a shoot. And I think they're just trying too hard to get Ambrose over as a heel because him turning on Seth Rollins, I think a lot of people don't mind that happened. And they realize that. So they're trying desperately to get people to boo Dean Ambrose. And that's why they gave him that line. But they crossed the line. And they went too far.
Oh, yeah. I heard Renee told him to say it.
Renee's still like
Renee's the mastermind behind this whole thing. That's what's going to be revealed in the end.
That'd be great.
How good would that be?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Renee is the one who opened my eyes. She's the one who showed me that Roman and Seth, they were really trying to do their own thing, and they were trying to be the big stars in WWE, and it should be me and not these guys, and Renee is the one, and then Renee's like, ha, 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 you know? All evil.
The problem is...
That might not work, but maybe it would. It might work, man. You might turn Renee into the next Vicky Guerrero. You never know, man. I think Renee could draw a lot of heat. I think people are ready to hate Renee. Have her as a, manager type deal for Dean Ambrose. That might work.
I question if she has that ability. I mean, maybe if they coach her on it.
I think she could do it.
I don't see it. Like, I have a hard time listening to her, like, just do commentating straight up the way she does. Her, like, in a convincing, diabolical heel kind of role.
I think she'd get heat.
She'd get heat, but not the kind of heat you're looking for. Like, I really hate her.
No, as long as you get heat, they don't care.
She's just annoying.
There you go. So is Vicky Guerrero, though,
Vicky
was very good, but I'm saying Renee, I think she could settle into that role as like an evil mouthpiece for Dean Ambrose.
Well,
I think it would make Dean Ambrose a far more compelling character.
As much as, we crap on Renee, and I'm not going to tell you Renee's great, but she is actually, in terms of the female commentators, she is the best one. So,
she's the only one.
Well, I think there's Charlie as well.
What are you saying about Beth Phoenix?
Beth was terrible, actually, at the pay-per-view. I'm sorry. Like, she was pretty bad.
What about Stephanie McMahon?
Stephanie's not really
good.
a commentator.
She's good, though, when she's on commentary.
Yeah, but
didn't she do commentary for the Women's Rumble?
Yeah, she did, but that was it.
Yeah. No, Renee's pretty good. I would say she's one of the better people on commentary in general.
No, I wouldn't say that, actually. Not at all.
Well, I mean, where would you rank her? Like,
near the bottom.
Who's the best person on commentary they have currently?
It's
like
tough.
On the main roster.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's got to be Michael Cole. Who? Is Corey Graves?
It's a toss-up between the two.
Byron Saxton, Tom Phillips. Who are you really ranking over Renee?
I'd rank them all over Renee.
I wouldn't. I'd put Cole, and then Renee, and then Corey, and then Saxton, and then Phillips. That's my ranking of the Raw SmackDown announced teams.
Well, I think it's all pretty bad, but no, Renee's definitely at the bottom. Just everything she says, it's such a cliche. It doesn't really add too much. It's kind of like, well, you're just saying the freaking obvious thing. Like, you're not adding really anything. You're just saying what we already can see. That's it.
No, she's not great. But I don't think WWE commentary in general is very good right now. And I think Renee would work with Dean Ambrose. But I don't know if WWE is going to go down that road. Dean Ambrose was like running around the building on Raw. Hiding from Seth. Seth was chasing him around. And then Seth was like, I give up, I'm leaving. And then he leaves. So Dean Ambrose is like, it's safe to come out now. And he goes to the ring at the end of Raw, cuts a little promo, runs down the people, in the audience because he's a heel, so that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you people are so terrible. It smells bad in L.A. What was that thing about the smell?
I don't know.
What is that smell? Like, he kept doing that. It's like, well, what? I don't know. Is it weed because they're in California? Is that what he was trying to say?
I'm not sure. I think it's just, insult people.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's weird. So Seth Rollins shows up, of course. Seth Rollins, he left the building, but he didn't really. Like, what are we supposed to believe there? Seth Rollins is a superhero?
Yeah.
Like, logically here. Seth Rollins leaves a building. Dean Ambrose shows up in the ring. Seth Rollins somehow gets back in the building. Like, where did he go? He didn't go very far.
Went to a CrossFit and came back.
Yeah,
finished,
I guess.
you know?
Anyway, so Seth Rollins shows back up. He attacks Dean Ambrose. Rollins, he's in control for a bit. And then Dean hits him with a low blow because that's what all heels do in WWE now.
Of course.
If they want to get an advantage on you, they kick you in the balls. Just like Daniel Bryan said very explicitly on Smackdown this week. His dreams kicked AJ Styles in the balls. So Dean kicks Seth low, and then he hit a couple dirty deeds on him and stands over him to end Raw. And it'll be Seth versus Dean at TLC for the Intercontinental Championship. Couldn't this have been the TLC match instead of Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin? Like, a TLC match to me is a match that has chairs and tables, but also ladders, and the ladders are kind of the goal, and the goal is to climb the ladder and grab something. And this Seth and Dean match seems tailor-made to be TLC because they have a title to suspend above the ring that they can compete for in a ladder match.
Well, maybe it will be a ladder match in the end, because usually we have TLC. It's usually you get a ladder, chairs, table match.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Or just you get the TLC. And it's happened before with TLC. The Shield was in one, where it's just the Shield against three other guys, and it's just the TLC, but there's nothing to climb for. It's just a bunch of weapons, a bunch of cool spots. And I think they saved it for Strowman because the importance of that match, given that if Corbin wins, he controls Raw, or Strowman wins, he's going to face Brock. That's a bigger deal than the Intercontinental Championship.
Right. And you would hope that it would be changed into a ladder match, the Seth and Dean match, or given some sort of gimmick. But this TLC pay-per-view has been severely watered down, I think. If you look at last year's card, we had one gimmick match on the whole thing. It was Kurt Angle and Seth and Dean against Miz, Braun, Kane, Cesaro, and Sheamus, where the three guys wound up beating the five-man team in a TLC match.
That was a mess of a match. Absolute mess.
That was last year's TLC. There were no other gimmick matches on that pay-per-view. No tables match, no ladders, no chairs. Enzo Amore was on the card. And Finn Balor beat AJ Styles.
It was actually a very good show given the injuries that happened last minute last year at TLC. Where this year, I think they actually need the stipulations to add some interest. We aren't coming off another pay-per-view where it was a gimmick pay-per-view. It was just Survivor Series, a bunch of tag matches. There weren't like stipulation matches. So I think you can add a ladder, chair, table, at least a tables match. Like those are really fun to watch.
2016, we had a tables match, a chairs match. AJ Styles beat Dean Ambrose in a TLC match for the WWE title. Alexa Bliss wrestled Becky Lynch in a tables match. Baron Corbin beat Kalisto in a chairs match. And The Miz defended the Intercontinental title against Dolph Ziggler in a ladder match. And even Nikki Bella wrestled Carmella in a no DQ. So 2016, they did it right. 2017, they deviated severely. And so far in 2018, we have only the Braun Strowman Baron Corbin officially as a TLC. As it stands, Seth Rollins Dean Ambrose is a singles match only for the Intercontinental title. Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax, no stipulation there for the Raw Women's title. And Daniel Bryan set to defend against AJ Styles for that WWE Championship, no stipulation there either. And you also have the Mixed Match Challenge final match, which is a pretty important match because the winning team will be the last entrant in their respective Royal Rumble match in the Rumble, which is pretty huge. They get number 30 in the men's and females Rumble. Nevertheless, this TLC pay-per-view, as it stands right now, lacking in the gimmick matches that you might want in one of these things.
Well, it's been changed, too, from last year, where last year I think it was October, the pay-per-view. This is in December. It's the last pay-per-view for WWE for the year. So I think you want to end it off on a high note. And by doing so, you need to have the gimmick matches.
But I don't know if they're going to do it. Like, I don't
they
know.
should.
Why announce these matches without announcing the gimmicks if you're planning on doing the gimmicks? It's 3 weeks out, you know? If Seth and Dean was going to be a ladder match, when they announced the match, they would have announced it as a ladder match, but they didn't. So it's probably not going to be, which is disappointing. Because an ordinary Seth and Dean match, one-on-one for the title, not that interested in. You make it a ladder match, gets a little bit better. I wanted to see Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles in a TLC. I thought, here we go. This is going to be crazy. But, no, just going to be an ordinary singles match. Should be good, but a stipulation would have been fun, too.
Well, I think the problem with some of these matches, you're going to see them at the Rumble as well, and they don't want to overkill the match where you already saw, like, in a table or ladder match. Why would you want to see a singles match? I get that, especially for Seth and Dean. But for Daniel and AJ, I really think you got to pull out all the stops. It's the WWE Championship. Don't make it seem like it's lower than the Intercontinental Championship.
Do you think that maybe Braun and Baron Corbin, because they're the lone TLC match on TLC, will headline the card and main event be the last match over Bryan versus AJ for the WWE Championship, the most important title being defended on that card?
I highly expect that.
Wow. That's not right.
Well, the WWE Championship, it's been years since I think it's been defended in the main event. It's been a very long time. I mean, you have to go back to a SmackDown-only pay-per-view where the WWE Championship was defended in the main event.
Well, I gave you TLC a couple years ago. That was a WWE. That was an undisputed title, I guess. That was unified. Right? TLC 2016 was main evented by AJ Styles. And
that was SmackDown.
Was it, though?
That was a SmackDown. And last year was Raw.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, it was a SmackDown only. Yeah, so you're saying that the SmackDown title never main events pay-per-views.
Not when it's joint with Raw.
Even when the Raw title's not being defended.
You've seen Roman Reigns Samoa Joe, a match that had no titles, yet main evented, I think Backlash this year, and AJ Styles Nakamura did not.
It was like in the middle of the card.
The WWE title, yeah, it's not the main focus.
But it's Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE title. Brock Lesnar's not on the card to defend the Universal Championship. Brock is the Raw champion. He's not even there. Roman Reigns is no longer in the picture. I understood when you put Roman Reigns in the main event because he's the guy, he's the main guy. You're trying to push him as the top star in the company, so you want to make him the main attraction every time. I get that. But now? Baron Corbin? Like, Braun Strowman? Like, really? I don't buy it. I'm not buying these guys as the main event over Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Pro wrestling shouldn't buy that, you know? We should all stand up and say, no. This is ridiculous. This is Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. These are two of the greatest wrestlers to ever walk into a ring. They are wrestling for the WWE Championship, the title that has the lineage, that has the history. This is the same title that Hulk Hogan held, that Ric Flair held, that Bret Hart held, that Steve Austin held, and Shawn Michaels, and so on. This is the WWE Championship. The Brock Lesnar title was invented a couple years ago because Raw didn't have a main title. The Universal title is nothing. It has no history. I could tell you all the champions now because there haven't been that many because the title means nothing. The WWE title is a title that means the most. In my eyes, and I think in a lot of people's eyes, it is the richest prize in the game. You know? It's
right.
The top belt.
Right.
If I were wrestling in the WWE, I would be most honored, I think, to hold the WWE title because it's the belt with the most history and the most prestige. The Universal title, it's red. It's, it's ugly. It's like that red title. The WWE title, it's black and gold. It's beautiful. It's the real title. It's the real belt. It should main event. What are they doing? Like...
Well,
I have so much respect for the title, I have so much respect for the champion and the challenger. The whole wrestling business respects these guys because they are respectable professional wrestlers. The wrestling business doesn't respect Baron Corbin. No one respects Baron Corbin. He's the only guy who had terrible hair that needed to go, shaved it off, looks worse now. Looks ridiculous. That stupid vest. No. Not standing for this. They should not main event.
Well, the priority is Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, then everyone else. You saw it at Survivor Series. What were the two main events? Last two matches. It was Brock and Ronda. And let's be fair and honest, that delivered. It was the best thing to watch the Survivor Series were those two matches. Therefore, going forward, that's what you're watching. Main events, Brock Lesnar, he's not involved in this, but this involves him. So it's Strowman, Corbin.
But he's not even on this. It's not him, though. If it were him, I'd get it. But just because it's about him doesn't mean it should main event.
It's the most important thing is Brock Lesnar. Number one. That's the main event. Then it's Ronda. And you know that's going to happen.
Why are they burying SmackDown so hard?
That was very weird, too, how SmackDown got swept, but the New Day was pushing that it was 6-1.
Yeah.
It's very weird how that's happening. It's odd. I think someone screwed up, obviously, but they're trying to make something out of it.
It's odd. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles should definitely main event TLC. Although, I think they probably won't, which is a real shame. Raw, for some reason, takes precedence, even though their show is a mess and it's just not that good. SmackDown is a way better product. It's way more fun to watch. And for some reason, they're trying to push Raw down our throats like Raw is the best. Even though, objectively, it's just not. Now, the whole 6-1 thing, New Day was part of the team that won at Survivor Series. It was the Tag Team Survivor Series match. It was on the pre-show. All throughout Survivor Series, they were saying, oh, it's 1-0 for Raw, 2-0 for Raw. And it's like, wait a second, SmackDown won the first one on the pre-show. But I guess they weren't counting that. So then Woods and Kofi and Big E, but Woods was wearing the thing on his little costume. He was wearing 6-1 because and they said in their promo, they are the one in 6-1. Which I appreciated. I thought that promo was very good by the New Day. New Day, one of the reasons why SmackDown is the far superior show. A great promo. That promo was just an ordinary New Day promo, right? It's just like, here's New Day. It's Thanksgiving in the United States, so we're going to do a little bit of a Thanksgiving-themed match here, and New Day's going to cut a promo before it, and we're going to let them do their thing. Nothing out of the ordinary, but it was so good and entertaining because it's the New Day, and they're great. You compare that to any other promo on Raw, and you can't. Raw has nothing anywhere near that level. And SmackDown had a Daniel Bryan promo. They had, Asuka wrestling. You got the Bryan brothers making their debut, which we'll get to in a second. But, New Day on an ordinary night cuts a promo that's better than anything on Raw.
Well, I thought Ronda was all right. Not the greatest promo, but...
Not the greatest promo.
But I'm interested to see what she's doing.
She's no Xavier Woods.
No, far from it, but I'm interested to see what she's going to say. And the fact that she wrestled on Raw, I was very surprised. I don't know if they needed to squash Mickie James like they did, but...
Why not? She's there to be squashed.
I think they could have built up Mickie to actually have a competitive match with Ronda.
That's not in the plans.
They could have
Mickey's
done
not getting anywhere near pushed, and you would never believe Mickie would beat Ronda on a main pay-per-view match.
It didn't have to be a pay-per-view. It could have just been hyped up Raw. I could have believed in something there, but you should have thrown like Dana Brooke or something in that situation, not Mickie James. But they did. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't think Ronda's promo was that good. Xavier Woods, when they were talking about what they were thankful for, and Xavier Woods said he's thankful for his 2 terabyte hard drive so he doesn't have to delete Spider-Man in order to download Red Dead 2. I love that. I love that line.
Well, you know everything's video games with him.
I know.
So, like,
It was great, though. It hit me. I was like, yeah, nice. Nice. Woods is playing the same game that I am. That's what I appreciate about that guy. You know? Good guy, Xavier Woods. And Big E was thankful for juicy breasts on the turkey that they were about to eat, which I thought was fantastic. Always something sexual with Big E. He was licking the turkey breast. It was...
Yeah, the licking actually isn't that great, actually. That's disgusting.
Oh, my. I loved it. I love it. He's always so, like... It's just sexual. He's very sexually suggestive, that man.
You lick food. Like, what the frig is wrong with you?
It's Big E. That's part of his gimmick. I love that guy. You know, they all have their own personalities in the group, and they mesh so well together. They're fantastic. And the match was all right, too. They won, beating Big Show and The Bar. Big E getting the pinfall on Sheamus after putting a turkey in his face. Big Show went through a table full of food. Cesaro tried to attack New Day after the match, but he got pie and all sorts of food thrown in his face. Made a real mess of Cesaro.
So what, now we get New Day against The Bar again?
Yeah, what else are you going to do?
Yeah,
Except for the tag team titles on SmackDown, you know? Maybe the Usos, but it's either the Usos or the New Day. What else are you going to do? You got nothing else going on in the tag team division, really.
Well, this is where you can change it up. Maybe make that a tables match.
How about the Bryan brothers? I think they deserve a tag team title shot. They just beat The Miz and Shane McMahon.
I don't understand what the heck we watched there.
Okay, I want to get to that because it was confusing, but we have to take a short pause. We're going to tell you who the Bryan brothers are. Are they the new hottest tag team in the WWE? Or maybe not? It's Wrestling Uncensored here on TSN 690.
Hello, this is Mick Foley, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is Trish Stratus, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored. Keep listening. Stratisfaction is guaranteed.
Aw, yeah. Welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He's Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website here on TSN 690. Saturday nights, talking professional wrestling. WWE TLC is 3 weeks away, coming up December the 16th in... Where is this thing taking place? San Jose, California. Sounds like a nice place to be in December. It's like cold right now here where we are in Montreal. San Jose, California. Doesn't that sound nice, Johnny North?
It's not Florida like where they usually go, but it's okay.
Okay, brother. Not impressed with anything, Johnny North over here. Johnny North was mistaken for a homeless man. If you want to know the whole story, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Dave and Johnny Live airs every Friday afternoon. It aired yesterday afternoon live. We're on YouTube. You can see us. You can talk to us on the YouTube chat. And Johnny North told a fantastic story about something that happened to him this week where he was mistaken for a homeless man. What happened next will shock you and maybe leave you in tears. I was in tears of laughter during that story, John. It was truly remarkable.
I think it's really a sad story, and it actually made me feel like garbage, but all right.
Oh.
If you got some enjoyment out of my sadness, I guess it's good.
Love you, Big Johnny.
Yeah, I question that every day.
How dare you. So go check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net to see the story, hear the story, see the story, live the story.
Be the story.
Be the story. Become the story on Dave and Johnny Live. My goodness. Oh, man. It was crazy. So, The Miz comes out, hosts Miz TV this week on SmackDown, and the fans are cheering for The Miz because they're in Los Angeles, and Miz is, like, always talking about how much he loves Los Angeles and how he's from there and he lives there and all that. So, he was the babyface here, and it seems like they're trying to turn Miz babyface. Shane McMahon shows up. Miz is just like all over Shane, saying how great Shane is and how they won the World Cup together and how they're best in the world and how Shane is the best in the world because he won that World Cup tournament at Crown Jewel. What happened was Miz won the first two matches and then was too injured to wrestle the final, so Shane McMahon decided to step in after having wrestled 0 matches in the tournament and he won. And he won the tournament, so Miz is saying they kind of co-won the tournament, which you can see his point there. Miz also talks about how they fought together at Survivor Series and how it was awesome, even though they lost. Didn't really do so well at Survivor Series, right? But
Shane did all the work. Miz just was standing there.
Yeah, Shane really did everything, and he was the last man standing for their team and then took a vicious beating at the end. It was really all Shane McMahon. And Miz, so impressed with Shane that he wants to be his tag team partner. Shane McMahon doesn't really know what to make of this. He's like, what? I didn't know I was trying to be in the tag team division. And Miz is like, no, let's be a tag team. Here are 2 men to wrestle us, and 2, look like small guys, indie wrestlers perhaps, right? Most
More than
likely,
yeah.
James Ellsworth types, let's say.
A bit bigger, but yeah.
A bit bigger, less creepy.
Right.
Right? I don't want to talk about the dirty things that James Ellsworth has been accused of doing, but,
Accused.
Yeah, so far. But there's some evidence that seems pretty damning. I don't want to ever speak of that man again, really. So the Bryant brothers are the men that show up. The 2 jobbers, not brothers at all. They look very different. 2 different-looking guys, different ethnicities, So they show up. They're the Bryan brothers. Miz is in the ring. Shane is not in wrestling gear. He's just in street clothes. He just stands on the apron, which at first I liked the initial thing where Shane went to go in the wrong corner. Did you notice that? Shane goes in the wrong corner, and then they tell him, no, you have to go in the other corner because that way the camera can really see your face because you're in the top left rather than in the bottom right. In the bottom right, you can't see you just see the back on the hard camera, but you wanted to see Shane McMahon, so he had to go in the top left. I like that there was confusion there. That'll probably be on a Botchamania someday. So Miz wrestles the match for the most part. Shane doesn't do anything. He just stands on the apron. Miz goes to maybe tag Shane or talk to Shane or something, turns around, gets rolled up by one of these guys. They lose. Miz is really disappointed. He's trying to apologize to Shane. And then Shane's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this tag team isn't going to work. And he walks away. What is this?
It's a weird attempt to get the Miz over as a babyface. I guess to feel sorry for him that he tried something that didn't work out, but he's going to probably keep trying and probably keep failing, but he's going to keep trying.
So he sucks, and we're supposed to feel bad for him, and that's going to turn him babyface?
That's what happens with a lot of heels. Like, they just lose a couple of matches, and you start to feel bad for them.
I don't know if it's hard to feel bad for the Miz, a guy who's always talking about how awesome he is, and I mean, they could go somewhere with it where Miz starts to question maybe he's not so awesome anymore. He's like, maybe I'm not awesome. Keep losing all these matches.
Where does this go with Shane, though? I don't understand.
Probably a match, right?
Shane versus Miz?
Yeah.
Oof, I don't know if I want to see that.
Like, Shane eventually tells him, look, Miz, you're terrible. I don't want to be your tag team partner. I don't want to be associated with you. And then Miz snaps and attacks Shane. The crowd goes crazy because the crowd likes when guys do that.
Yeah.
And then Miz is a babyface. He's made, and they wrestle at Royal Rumble. Or TLC. Probably not TLC. Although you could do it in 3 weeks if you really wanted to on SmackDown. You have another match. Miz this week. Here, I'm writing it for you, WWE, so take notes, all right? Miz this week on SmackDown goes to Shane. He says, Shane, give me one more chance. Let's have a match. I got a rematch with the Bryan brothers, okay? They wrestle the match. They lose again.
Wow.
Okay? Miz, the week after, says, Shane, look, I don't know what's happening, but I got us a... Oh, no, okay, how about this? No, forget it. They don't lose again. They win. They beat the Bryan brothers, okay?
All right.
Then the next week, Miz says, okay, Shane, now this week I have us a tag team, a real tag team to wrestle. And they wrestle like the Colognes.
Okay.
And they lose to the Colognes, okay? Then, the week before TLC, the go-home show of SmackDown, Shane says, look, this tag team isn't going to work. I don't think we got what it takes to be a tag team. I don't think you have what it takes to be my tag team partner. I'm the best in the world. You're not.
All right.
You're not good enough to be my tag team partner. Miz says, I'm not good enough to be your tag team partner. I carried you through that tournament. You did nothing. Da-da-da. You took a beat-up Dolph Ziggler and you won. Shane says, yeah, why don't you prove it? And Miz pushes him, and then they get into a thing, and they set up a match for TLC. They either fight a little bit on Miz TV or not. They just say, okay, I'll prove it to you at TLC one-on-one. They have the match at TLC, and there you go. I just built it. Match at TLC. Who wins? I don't know. Who cares? Probably Miz. Miz beats Shane. Miz is good enough. Miz is now best in the world.
So they're fighting for the trophy is what you're saying?
Sure.
Okay.
Or not. Or not. You know. I'm just saying it's easily buildable for TLC if you want to do it then, or you could stretch that whole thing out into the Rumble and do it then as well. But I think it's kind of building towards Miz versus Shane, no? Because obviously the tag team isn't going to work. They're entering some sort of program together. It's got to lead to something. Usually in wrestling, it leads to wrestling matches. You know, when two guys start talking to each other, and they're maybe going to be a tag team, but probably not, it's probably a sign that down the road they're going to wrestle each other, right? I've seen this story one too many times.
It's just a story I don't know if I really want to see. The Miz against Shane McMahon. It's not a match that's very compelling to me whatsoever. I'd rather they didn't go in this direction. I think Shane, he had his moment at Survivor Series. That's great. And now it's time to move on. There's other characters on SmackDown I'd rather see.
Well, too bad.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I mean, you saw Survivor Series, you saw Crown Jewel. You're seeing SmackDown every week. Shane McMahon is back, baby, and he's here to stay. We're not getting rid of Shane McMahon.
He can be on TV. It's fine.
I could see him wrestling at TLC, too.
It's a lot, though. It's just not necessary. Give it to somebody else. I understand they already did Jeff Hardy and The Miz, but do something different.
I think they're going to try and use Shane McMahon to get Miz over for something. Maybe a WrestleMania match with evil Daniel Bryan. I don't know.
I understand how that would look, but I wouldn't really want to see that either.
No.
AJ Styles is the match I want to see. Maybe Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio. That'd be fantastic. The Miz, maybe on a SmackDown. That's it.
You talk about AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania?
I'd love for that to happen.
They're wrestling at TLC.
Yeah, but there can be a screwy finish. You don't get a clean finish. AJ still wants revenge, but can't get revenge because he lost the rematch. He's got to go through and win the Rumble.
Maybe.
Nothing wrong with that.
If they're really pushing The Miz, though, I mean, they did do a dark match after SmackDown where Bryan was the heel and Miz was a babyface. And, they're testing out something with Miz and Bryan. So maybe, I could see Miz winning the Rumble, too.
Well, give Miz like a title shot. Again, on SmackDown, maybe even the Rumble, Miz versus Daniel Bryan. I mean, it would pique people's interest. I wouldn't mind seeing the match, but it's not the dream match. It's not WrestleMania. I mean, we've seen it so recently. You're just reversing the roles. I can't imagine the match is going to be much better. But reverse just Daniel Bryan's role against AJ Styles, and suddenly, wow, it's a whole different scenario in terms of a matchup I really want to see.
I don't know how long they can stretch this AJ Styles Daniel Bryan thing out. What did you think of Daniel Bryan's promo, though? Which, it really showed the new Daniel Bryan. Exactly what he told the ring announcer to call him, the new Daniel Bryan. He says the Yes Movement is dead. He cuts a long promo in the middle of the ring there. It was, he had that crazy look in his eye. He talked about being in the hyperbaric chamber to repair his brain, and he had these thoughts about what he should do and what Daniel Bryan should do. He wasn't referring to himself as I or me. He was saying Daniel Bryan this and Daniel Bryan that. It was a different character for Daniel Bryan. I liked it. I thought it was very good. And I'm interested to see what's next. I thought it was a cool introduction, and they could go a lot of different places with this, and I like what Daniel Bryan's doing. This is a new heel WWE champion character, and he's all in, and I'm fascinated. I liked it.
Well, it's tough. He just took a beating from Brock Lesnar, so you got to try to sell the fact that you're not supposed to like this guy. It's not an easy sell, in my opinion. Them trying to say that he's like a psychopath now, where he refers to himself in the third person, and it seems like he's kind of like possessed in a sense by this new entity that he is now. It's just odd. It's weird. It's not as entertaining as his Yes movement, Daniel Bryan. I mean, if you want to make him less entertaining, if that's the way to make him a bad guy, fine. But
well, if people are chanting yes and, looking at him like he's the old Daniel Bryan, the underdog hero, it's not going to work as a heel. He had to do this. This had to happen. But I like it. I wasn't sure how they were going to make him a heel, but, I like the new character.
Well, for him to be the underdog, except against Rey Mysterio, I mean, who is he bigger than? He's still one of the smallest guys in all of WWE.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to be the biggest to be the scariest. Is Ronda Rousey the scariest woman in the women's division?
Of course.
Is she the biggest?
Not quite, but she's not small.
She's not the biggest.
No, but she's legit.
Charlotte's bigger than her. Nia's way bigger than her. They're bigger.
But she's legit.
Yeah, so Daniel Bryan's legit too. Look, you see the look in Brock Lesnar's face after that match? Kind of look back at Bryan like, yeah, you almost had me there. Bryan's legit. Bryan got that nod from Brock Lesnar. Not many guys get that nod from Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar walked away from that Braun Strowman match like, oh, God. Didn't look back. Didn't give a smile. Was kind of like pissed the whole way through.
Right.
He has some of those matches where he walks away and he's not that happy. You could tell Brock was legit happy. That wasn't like a fake thing. That wasn't a gimmick. I don't think he was told to do that at the end of Survivor Series. When Brock looked back at Daniel Bryan and gave him that look, that smile, that was really Brock Lesnar. He liked that match. Daniel Bryan is legit. He took Brock to the limit.
He did.
And that's the Daniel Bryan that you're dealing with right now. A Daniel Bryan who takes Brock Lesnar to the limit. A Daniel Bryan who can beat anyone on the Smackdown roster, big or small. A dominant champion. Not a scared heel. This guy is evil. He knows how to wrestle. He knows how to break bones and choke you unconscious. That's Daniel Bryan. He knows how to do things that other wrestlers do not. He's highly skilled.
You say dominant champion. He hasn't really shown anything yet so far, so you can't really say that.
Well, I'm saying here comes the reign of a dominant Daniel Bryan championship all the way until WrestleMania and then some.
I imagine he'll get to Mania. Past Mania? I'm not sure about that. The fact that we saw AJ Styles successfully defend at WrestleMania, it's a rare thing to successfully defend the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Hard time believing Daniel Bryan is going to be. He's got to get past Elimination Chamber as well. Also, another difficult pay-per-view.
I'll be honest with you, John. If I were running things, I'd give him the title until he retires.
I'm sure you would.
I wouldn't take the title off of him for years. Give him a 5-year run. I'm not kidding. It's Daniel Bryan we're talking about. He's that good. He's good enough to do it. If you're going to give anybody that kind of run, if you're going to do it with Daniel Bryan. He's the guy. There's nobody better. I'd give him a 5-year run.
I think that's too long, but
I don't.
That's me.
Imagine what he'd do with that. It'd be incredible. When he lost, how crazy that would be.
It'd be nuts, but
wow,
that's way too long, I think, especially for someone who's been
3 years then.
Injury prone.
Well, let's see how long. Then give it to him until he can't do it anymore.
Well, then he won't really lose it then. He'll just forfeit it.
No. Give it to him until, he starts to say, until he decides it's time to drop it.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, yeah. When should I lose the title? Oh, how about never, yeah.
How about never? Well, there you go, brother. That's how it happens, all right? That's how it works. He's Daniel Bryan. He's that damn good.
Well, enjoy the run as long as it lasts, because as we've seen with a lot as we see with a lot of people recently, these runs can end out of nowhere.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised that they took the title off AJ. Something that we didn't mention last week out of the Becky Lynch and Survivor Series and everything, all the confusion. But AJ Styles was going on over a year with that WWE title, and I'm a bit surprised that they didn't have him beat CM Punk's record.
He would have had to made it a little past Mania to do it, so I think they figured that, and that might be too much. Because he already made it through one Mania. He'd have to go through another Mania to pass the record. Maybe they're just like, yeah, we just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Of course, Brock Lesnar held the Universal title longer than CM Punk held the WWE title.
And they mentioned that, of course.
That Brock held the title. Yeah. His title run there. Yeah. Very long title run. And of course, CM Punk defended it like 100 times more than Brock did through the period of time.
Of course.
So, there's that. But I was a little bit surprised that, they didn't have AJ beat that record. So here's Daniel Bryan, have him beat the record, and then destroy the record by giving him a 5-year title run. It's Daniel Bryan time. The new Daniel Bryan.
Again, enjoy it while it lasts. Who knows how long it's going to last for, but he's on top. I'm surprised this happened. And just savor the moment, man, because it could be over next week.
Yeah.
The way things go now in WWE.
Well, I'm loving it. I didn't love so much Charlotte Flair beating up both Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Like, man, that was kind of rough. Charlotte beats Billie Kay in a match. Then she challenges Peyton Royce. She's about to beat her. Billie Kay attacks her. And then Charlotte just says, no, I'm going to beat you both up 2-on-1. The Iconics really totally jobbed out. They had that one win in Australia. They've never won again. And they probably never will.
Well, to be fair, they're not that great of wrestlers. It's just they talk. That's all they got going for them.
Yeah.
They're like the Elias of the women division.
I guess. There's not that much there. Natty beat Ruby Riott. Got the win in her whole feud there with the Riot Squad. That was nice to see. I guess that's over with.
But see, it's nice they gave her something. They could have done that for Mickie James, build up to something, do something on Raw. They can do little things like this. Natty got a moment. That's nice. I can't imagine she's going to get too many more moments because it doesn't seem like she's focused that much. Remember, she used to be Ronda's friend? Like, what happened with that?
Yeah, like when the Riot Squad was attacking Natty, I thought, well, shouldn't Ronda come out and help Natty? Like, if your friend is getting beat up 3-on-1, wouldn't you come and attack those people? But no, Ronda's involved in something else, so I guess they're not friends? Like, it's weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, she used to be involved and now she's not. Nia Jax and Tamina got a win over Bayley and Sasha, so Nia and Tamina keep going over strong. Lucha House Party beat the Revival, which is fun to see. And really fun to see was Chad Gable and Bobby Roode beating the Authors of Pain, beating the AOP, the Tag Team Champions on Raw. So maybe Gable and Roode getting a little bit of a push, but probably, they beat him in the non-title to lose when it's time for a tag team title match, right?
But still, that means they'll probably make the pay-per-view or at least the kickoff show. That's a push, considering they weren't really doing anything.
It's a nice little vehicle to get Chad Gable over. He really is the focus of that tag team. He gets all the wins. He does the most exciting stuff. The crowd's actually into it when he's in the ring. I've said it time and time again. Chad Gable could be the future of the WWE. He is an incredible talent. He can talk. He can wrestle. He can do it all.
But I feel like...
You want to talk about legit. He's as legit as they come.
But I feel like this is just building towards him and Jason Jordan coming together as a team once Jordan can come back to wrestle. So as much as, you want to see him get pushed, and he had some great single matches with some of the top talent in WWE, it's just him going to be with American Alpha again. That's what this is building towards, I think.
Yeah, maybe, but, you look at the Raw singles division, not that strong right now. Chad Gable, with a proper push, could be a big-time star for them, and they're just not going there.
But the Raw tag team division, also very weak. American Alpha can easily come in there.
You know what Chad Gable should do? He should go win a couple fights in the UFC and then come back and become a big star in WWE. Probably work for him. And he's a guy that could probably like, he's a hell of an athlete. He was an Olympic wrestler for the United States. Like, he went to the Olympics. The guy is legit. He could probably fight MMA and win a couple fights in the UFC, and then come back and get a huge paycheck from Vince. So it's not a bad idea considering where he's at right now. Because if you're a WWE superstar and you want to be pushed to the top, well, fighting in the UFC is a really good way to do it. Just ask Ronda Rousey or Brock Lesnar, right?
Well, you do need to have a level of success, though. They were champions. They didn't just fight. They won championships.
Oh, Matt Riddle's getting a pretty decent push in NXT. He wasn't a champion.
No, but he won quite a few fights, didn't he?
He won some fights.
And it took him a while, too, though, because they didn't like that he smoked pot. So,
yeah, you think he stopped?
No, I don't think he stopped, but they had to work on that.
I don't think anybody's working on it. I think he's working on smoking more weed.
I think they came
King of Bros.
They came to an understanding in terms of when they're doing testing, I think.
Sure. Johnny North, when's your next match? Where can people see you in the ring and maybe smoke some legal weed before the show? Because weed is legal in this country, so I guess you can do that. Matt Riddle, you can come to Canada and be all right.
Yeah,
John?
You could. So December 16th, 4325 Industrial Boulevard, True Onyx Torture Chamber, wrestling Don Belanger for the NWA British Commonwealth Championship.
Seems like the last show that you did for this promotion was on Survivor Series, and this next show's on TLC. Did they do that on purpose?
It just happens to fall on that.
Strange. So there you go. More on that at North Genesis on Twitter, at Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. You could follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. All the info for our YouTube channel and our iTunes feed and everything on WrestlingUncensored.net. Big thanks to Jimmy and Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690, and a big thanks to you for listening. For Johnny North, I'm Dave Simon. This has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah.
Yeah.